This is gonna be goofball city here, eh, I tell you. And lassies, it's your old pal Reviewy McReviewface coming at you right before Saint Patrick's Day. As you can see, I'm a big fan of Saint Patrick's Day and bad accents. Listen, if you're Irish, you're probably listening going, he doesn't sound at all Irish. But hey, this is what you're gonna get, alright? So don't be such a picky bugger. Anyways, I'm all ready for St. Patrick's Day, but one of the big, I don't know, do I do the accent? Do I go full accent, or do I just start, I'm gonna start talking normally, because otherwise it's gonna slip anyways, and by the end, it's gonna sound even worse, especially after I finish a couple of beers. Because what is St. Patrick's Day without a couple of beers, right? So today, I'm gonna go through a couple of different ways to have a beer on St. Patrick's Day. People are gonna tell you that you have to celebrate St. Patrick's Day a certain set way. They're gonna tell you that if you drink green beer, it's not proper, that, you know, oh, Guinness is only for tryhards. Here's my advice. If you're out on St. Patrick's Day having one of my beer selection suggestions, and someone comes up and says that that's not the way that you should celebrate St. Patrick's Day, I want you to do something for me. I want you to look them square in the eye. Square in the eye. And say to them, oi, it's gonna be all right. We're gonna get through this together. And I want you to raise your glass, and they'll raise their glass, and you'll cheers, and we're gonna get through this. It's gonna be all right. All right? There's no one set way to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. However you feel like doing it is the right way. Just have a good day. Be nice to each other. That's all I ask. We're gonna go through 4 different types or preparations, if you would, of beer. I've named these for you, so it makes it nice and easy. If you try to order any of these from a bartender, they'll by the names, they probably won't know what you're talking about. So we're gonna go with an Emerald Isle, the taste of the city, authenticity in a glass. Magically delicious. Are you ready? So let's take a St. Patrick's Day trip with your old pal Reviewy. Let's get started. So first off, we're gonna go with the Emerald Isle. Now, I'm pretty sure you've guessed by now what the Emerald Isle entails. That's right, green food coloring in beer. Now, some people will tell you that green food coloring in beer is a terrible tradition that has absolutely nothing to do with St. Patrick's Day. And to those people, I say, well, bugger off. Have some fun, eh? When did you graduate from Killjoy University? If you want to have a green beer on St. Patrick's Day, Reviewy McReviewface gives you permission to go and have a green beer on St. Patrick's Day. We're just going to have a, of course, banquet. It's a lovely beer, and it'll go well with the green food coloring. Let's give it a proper pour here. So you want a wee bit ahead, but not all of it, right? You want to see the amber liquid there. And then what we got? We've got our green food dye. You don't need a lot of this stuff. I'm gonna do 3 drops. And you can see it just kind of swirling through there. Looks kind of pretty. Now there's 2 ways to do it. You can either just take your time, let it magically swirl through. Take the time to contemplate the Emerald Isle and St. Patrick, who bravely led snakes out to Ireland. Well, they probably didn't. It's probably not true, but that's okay. Or if you're getting impatient, take your finger. Just kind of give it a swirl. All right, there we go. Nature's star stick right there. And there you have a nice, it's a light green beer. And I say cheers to you. Here's our first beer. Now the food coloring is not going to affect the flavor. The food coloring may come back to see you again later in the evening, if you know what I'm saying. But that's a minor concern. So there's option 1, the Emerald Isle. Now let's say, I'm getting beard in my mouth. Let's say that you're not a fan of the green beer yourself. You won't deny another person the opportunity to have the green beer that they'd like, but it's not really up your alley. So you know what you can do is you just go with the taste of the city. And that's right, you go with a good local beer. For me, I know, you're probably looking at that thinking, well, it must be an Australian beer. Pretty big. No, this is the Banded Peak Brewing Company from Calgary, Alberta. Their Plainsbreaker Unhopped Wheat Ale. Haven't tried this one yet. So I thought, here's an opportunity. If you're out on St. Patrick's Day, and you don't want to do green beer, find out, if you're in a different city, ask around and say, what's your best local beer? What local beer do you enjoy? Or if you're at home, find a local beer you haven't tried yet. Give it a try, see how it goes. So here we go, the Bandit Peak. This is the first time I've tried this one. Comes in a 1 liter can, which is nice because you can just say, oh, but honey, I'm only having 1 beer. That's got a little bit more head to it, but that may be because I shook the can up a little bit accidentally. So we're not gonna blame the beer for that. Now there you go, it's a nice, it's a little cloudier than that. So I mean, it probably wouldn't hold the green food coloring quite as well, but oh, that does smell nice. It's got a little bit of a tropical note to it. I know there's a certain type of hops that you get like that tropical flavor. I don't know what it is, I'm not a beer expert. I will link below, there's a local guy who does some great beer reviews. So if you want local Calgary beer reviews, there's a link down below to an awesome guy here in the Calgary YouTube community. Does a phenomenal job. I really recommend following him. Cheers! Here's our Bandit Peak. That's nice. It's light. It's tropical. Doesn't have that like really heavy hops bitterness. So that's a really nice beer. So there you go. That is our taste of the city. If you don't want to do the green beer, go out and find a good local beer you haven't tried before, or stick to a local favorite. Taste of the city. Now next, I think you know what this one is. When I say authenticity in a glass, you know what I'm talking about. We're talking about the big boy of St. Patrick's Day. We're talking about Guinness, a product of Ireland. And if you say to somebody, I'm gonna have a good Irish beer, they probably think you're gonna have a Guinness. So this is the authenticity in a glass. If you are out on St. Patrick's Day, you don't want the green beer, you don't want the local stuff. Oh, you hear the widget going. Now I'm not going to be pouring this properly, because with the widget inside you're supposed to pour it all out and then let it cascade, but my glass isn't quite big enough for that, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to do a half cascade. But there you go, we'll just let that sit just for a second while we talk about Guinness. And if you haven't tried it before, I know a lot of people are scared of the dark beers. This St. Patrick's Day, if you're scared of the dark beers, don't be. They're kind beers, they're lovely beers. And they're filling beers. If you're out and you're a wee bit hungry, you have a Guinness, it's a meal in a glass. You take a knife and a fork, you cut through that, you'll have a lovely meal right in a glass there. Authenticity in a glass. So you can see, I think we got most of the cascade, a lovely head on that. Oh, there's a little more cascading there. Beautiful dark beer. So if you want to stay authentic this St. Patrick's Day, grab a Guinness. Oh, that's lovely. A little bit of coffee and chocolate dryness. You can't do better than a Guinness, can you? Or can you? We have one left. So I think these are pretty common options on St. Patrick's Day. You've got your green beer, you've got your fancy local beer, you've got your Guinness. What, Reviewy, do you have up your sleeve? Other than the classic 3. Well, Reviewy has got a little surprise for you. One extra thing to make St. Patrick's Day just a little bit more magical. That's right. I'm talking marshmallows. Alright, so here's the thing. That reveal of marshmallows was so amazing, it made my camera stop. But of course I didn't realize that till like several hours later. So here we are. I've gone through a bit of the taste of the city. Pretty much done Emerald Isles. Still working on the authenticity in a glass. And now we gotta come back and revisit a marshmallow beer. So let's get this going. All right, so we're gonna take some of these lovely little mini marshmallows, put them into the bottom of the glass. In case you're wondering, this is a pound of mini marshmallows from Amazon. You'll notice the bag is more than half empty. I highly suggest getting these. These are a Reviewy McReviewface definite thumbs up. You would be surprised how many things you can use mini cereal marshmallows for. And look at all the lovely shapes that you get in the mini marshmallows here, right? You get your blue squares, your red triangles, your purple crescents, your green crescents as well. Oh, and let's not forget your orange triangles. Like, you got all the shapes, right? It's just like Lucky Charms. So there we go. We got our marshmallows. We'll take a little bit of a fine beverage and just top that up. There we go. Learned from the first round, which you're never going to see because the camera stopped working. We're just gonna swirl that around a little bit, wet those marshmallows down, get them all ready to go, and then we'll top it up from there. There we go. Now again, it does make a very foamy head, which is kind of neat because if you look at it from the top, it looks like a bowl of cereal. So playful, so delightful. And it's, well, let's put it this way. There's still a little green beer left, there's still a little house beer left, there's still a little Guinness left. This one's already gone. So that's gonna tell you how good this is. Just that little bit of sweet mixes so nice with the beer. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe nobody else in the world will like marshmallows in their beer. This, my friends, this is the St. Patrick's Day version of Skittlebrow, and I highly recommend it. Oh, because that's refreshing and sweet and lovely. So there you have it, folks. St. Patrick's Day is coming up quick. You've got your options here, right? Your Emerald Isle, your taste of a city, your authenticity in a glass, and your magically delicious. So it's 4 beers. What was the I had a catchphrase. How'd it go? That's right. So it's beer 4 ways for St. Patrick Days. So go out there and enjoy yourselves responsibly. Obviously, if you're drinking, don't drive. Be kind to everyone around you and enjoy your choice of beverage. Because I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just telling you my review. I'm Reviewy McReviewface, and I'll see you next St. Patrick's Day. Cheers!